Good day to everyone. Thanks for joining me on today. My name is Deb Howard. I am here for this week's episode. I believe we're on episode 5 of Prosperity Principles, my weekly podcast that is that is held on Thursdays. Today is Thursday at 7:30 a.m. So I'm excited to be here on today. For those of you who don't know me, I am, I said already, Deb Howard, but I'm an abundant life coach. I help faith based leaders and entrepreneurs overcome limiting beliefs about money. Today, on this episode, we are going to be talking about raising the standard. How about that? Raising the standard. Good morning, Tanya. Good morning, love. Thanks for joining me on today. So, do you think living by a higher standard is optional? That's always the question, right? Is it optional? Because as believers, sometimes I think we look at the patterns that have been set in the world and not really look at how God has established principles for us, right? And for us to really prosper, we will have to align with God's standards for doing business. Now, I know it looks like everyone that's doing wrong is prospering, right? I believe that was who said that? Is that Ecclesiastes? I believe Solomon might have said something about that. That everywhere he looks, it seems the wicked are prospering. But let me tell you, God has a plan for us to prosper, and He has standards that we must live by in order to attain that prosperity. So, raising the standard to prosper is important for us as believers who have declared ourselves to be believers of the Most High God. So you can't worry about what everybody else is doing. You can't look at what's happening on social media. Listen, what's happening on social media may be real, may not be real. Good morning, Ebony. Thanks for joining. Good morning, Carbonita. Thanks for joining. All right. So we must be those that walk by a standard that may seem optional to others. Right. That's what I want to tell you today. It may seem optional for other people, but we're today, right? We're going to talk about the standards that God has established for us as faith-based leaders, and all of you are faith-based leaders. We are required, right, to live by these standards in order to walk in freedom. I wish we really had time to talk about freedom, but we're going to talk about that another day. Because remember, we are all in business. I tell you that all the time. Whether you have one customer, two customers, 10 customers, right? If you have one customer, maybe you're employed. If you have more than one customer, maybe you have a business or you're self-employed, or maybe both, right? Maybe you have a business and a job, right? That's okay. We all are in business. And so these principles work for all of us, and we must be ready, right, to live by them. So let's talk about the word standard. That is something that is set up, the definition, something that is set up or established by an authority as a rule for any measure. A standard is defined as the level of quality or attainment. I love that because so many times in business, we are looking to give our customers a standard of quality, right? And so, what is the standard of quality that God requires from us? That's the question, because that is how we're going to prosper. Can I slow down a bit? Listen, y'all, I know I be talking fast. Good morning. I know I talk fast at times. So I'm going to slow it down because we have some principles that God has given us. And I'm going to take you just briefly to a scripture. We're going to go to Isaiah 33 because you know what? It tells us, right? So Isaiah 33, this is starting in verse 15. Those who walk righteously, speak what is right, who reject gain from extortion and keep their hands from accepting bribes, who stop their ears against plots of murder and shut their eyes against contemplating evil, right? They are the ones, these people, they are the ones who will dwell on the heights, whose refuge will be the mountain fortress. Their bread will be supplied, and water will not fail for them. Oh, I feel like that means all your needs are supplied. Listen, so let's break that down just for a second because that's what we're here for. We're trying to get some principles. Those who walk righteously, That just means those who are walking in justice and moral uprightness. Listen, do I have to say any more of that? Moral rightness. I know that we are seeing in social media, in the news, many um, so-called righteous people, maybe not walking as righteously as we would like. But God is calling for us, and it may seem like they're prospering, right? Except when it comes to meet them, right? Except when it catches up with them. But I'm telling you, God is instructing us that I have a place for those who walk righteously, who speak what is right. Let's keep going. Speak sincerely and straightforward. As business leaders, as faith-based leaders, we should always be sincere with what comes out of our mouth, right? Our words should be true, should be frank, should be straightforward, right? We should be honest, right? Sincerely and straightforward. Speak what is right. Reject gain from others' oppression, right? From extortion. Extortion is oppressing someone else, right? So when we oppress others in order to get ahead, right? God is saying, this is not going to allow you to prosper, right? Sometimes we think we have to step on others in order to get ahead. I'm telling you right here, reject the, the thought, right? The idea, even the temptation to oppress others. Reject the temptation to speak evil of others, right? We talked about those words. Keep your hands from accepting bribes, right? Stop trying to get around doing what is right. Ah, money to pervert justice. When we talk about bribes, we're talking about trying to get over. I know we don't like that. See, when we hear bribe, we want to make it a big deal like in the movies, right? But really, what it is getting around doing what's right or forcing others to fail for your own success. Okay. Keep your hands from that. Stop your ears against plots of murder. Listen, don't listen to schemes that hurt others. You know, so many times we get into gossip. That's a whole other thing, too. Lord help us today. But don't allow yourself to be in the company of those who are seeking to hurt others. Stop your ears against it, right? Plots of birth. Don't listen. Don't be in the company of those who are not aligned with your values. We're faith-based leaders. Listen, we're kingdom wealth. We're a high value individuals, right? And high value individuals have to protect their ear gates. I wish I had somebody there. People that are speaking in your presence or are emitting a vibration. I know I got somebody right there, right? They are putting off something, right? They are causing you to receive something that you don't need to receive. Stop your ears up, right? Turn away from those who are always looking at a scheme or a plot to trap somebody, to help to hurt someone else so that they can get over. And then shut your eyes against contemplating evil. Don't devise plans that cause adversity or unkind consequences to others. Listen, in business, right? I know sometimes we have the temptation. I know sometimes we have the temptation to do something in order to get ahead. We may be tempted to badmouth our competitor in order to make ourselves look good. We may be tempted to say, you know, that coach over there, she ain't really all of that, right? I heard somebody told me that, listen, come on, y'all. We got to come out of that place. We've got to come out of the place of thinking that we have to oppress others, that someone has to be hurt for me to succeed. Someone has to lose for me to win. Someone has to get out the way for me to have the stage. No, that doesn't have to be the case. It does not have to be the case because that scripture, let me go back to it. That second verse says, what are we going to do? Child, listen. These are the people that don't do all that crazy stuff, that walk righteously, that speak what is right, that reject gain from extortion, that keep their hands from bribes, that stop their ears against murder, that shut their eyes against contemplating evil. Look, they are the ones who will dwell on the heights, who will dwell in the high place. Come on now, who will prosper. That place, dwell on the heights, be in an elevated place. How about that? Be in an elevated position. Some of us want to be elevated in our position. Some of us are ready to go to the next level. And listen, you're not going to get there doing it in an evil, wicked way. You're not going to get there at the expense of others. Listen, there is more than enough for all of us. Y'all know I always say this, right? There is abundance all around us. So someone else doesn't have to fail for you to succeed. And when we get that in our mind, when we understand that, listen, God got a whole bunch of number one places, right? It's not just one in his, come on now, it's not just one in his category. There's a whole bunch of number one places. There's a whole bunch of success. There's more than enough money, right? So someone else doesn't need to fail for you to succeed, right? If I can wrap it up that way, that's how I'm going to wrap it up. Trust that God has you. And if you live according to his standards, raise your standards, even for your customers. Allow them to see that, listen, there's something distinct and different about this one right here. I got, because this one right here that I am working with, that I am, maybe that is my employee, right? They are dwelling in a place that I haven't seen before. They're in an elevated place, right? Those whose refuge will be the mountain fortress, right? That mountain fortress, that place of security, a stronghold. God is saying, listen, I got you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to keep you from the evil day. That fortress and your bread and water, listen, you ain't going to have to worry about that. There is more than enough. Every need will be supplied. Listen, you will prosper when others look like that there's no prosperity around. Listen, I don't care what the economy says. Y'all always say that. I don't care. They talk about recession, all that. Listen, that doesn't matter, because we are people of the Most High God. So listen, our prosperity principle today, listen, raise your standard, right? Nobody has to fail for you to succeed. You don't have to go through all the unctions, right? All the things to get ahead. Just walk before the Lord uprightly. Just live by his standards. Just operate by his standards. Listen, some of these things need to be in our business charters, right? Some of us need to really sit down and look at how we are running our business, even if we're an employee. Because again, you in business. Some of us need to begin to raise our level of awareness to those who are around us. Some of us need to stop listening. We might need to get off the phone, y'all. Listen, I can't talk to you right now. We have to be rude to people, but we have to allow them to understand. I'm living by the high standard, right? Because I want to prosper. Listen, our hearts must be aligned with God in order for us to receive the blessing of God. And listen, let me find my verse, because y'all know I love this. Oh, there it is right there. The blessing of the Lord, come on now, brings wealth without painful toil. We don't have to work hard. We just have to live right. How about that? We just have to raise our standards. We just have to remember that we're here to serve, and God will bring service to us. How about that? He will bring others that will serve us. He will bring the blessing to us. Come on, Deuteronomy. The blessing will overtake you in the field, in the city, while you're walking, in your house. Come on now. So we just need to raise our standard. Listen. Woo, I'm excited on today. Look, thank y'all for joining me on today for today's episode of Prosperity Principles. Thanks everybody. Thanks, love, for being just the scribe with the most, right? Raise your standard. Absolutely, absolutely. So listen, you know what I'm gonna say. Go have your most abundant day. I'll see you next week.